Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the February 13th meeting of the Haltom City Council. We welcome all of you who are in the audience tonight and here in the council chambers, as well as those who are watching either the live broadcast on HCTV Channel 7 or some of the delayed broadcasts of this council meeting. We're always pleased to have citizens interested and present as the council discusses and deliberates and makes decisions about the quality of life in our city. So we're called to order at this time, and our invocation and pledge tonight is under the direction of Councilmember Bill Lanford.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with us tonight. Be with each and every person here. Be with those who are watching on TV. And Father, we ask that you spread your blessings and your love and awareness of your love for us to every human being on this planet. We are just such a small community. And Father, we ask that you bless these proceedings tonight. Grant that we fulfill your requirement that we love one another as you have loved us. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen. And this morning, this evening, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Scout Alan Grammer is going to lead us in that. Alan, if you will come forward, please. Alan is a Star Scout, and we're pleased to have him. Thank you.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Councilmember Lanford, for the invocation, and to Scout Alan Grammer for the Pledge of Allegiance. We're always glad to have our scouts here, and I think Alan's purpose in being here tonight is watch local government in action as one of the requirements for some of the badges that he's in the process of earning. Okay, let's go ahead and move, if you're following along on the agenda, to the announcements and the events portion of our meeting. Our Public Information Officer, Fran Burns, has a number of announcements that we know all of us are going to be interested in.
Thank you, Mayor. I have several announcements tonight. The first concerns the upcoming May election. Filing has begun for the May 13th general city election, and packets are available in the city secretary's office here at City Hall to individuals who would like to file for council places 3, 4, 5, and 6. Deadline to file is Monday, March 13th. The candidate filing fee is $50. This fee is waived if the candidate submits signatures from a minimum of 50 registered voters who reside in Haltom City. Currently, the HCPD has a safety belt enforcement program going on. Seat belts save lives, and HCPD is currently targeting drivers and passengers who do not buckle up, as well as drivers who do not properly restrain their children. So please buckle up. Haltom CMP took place this past Saturday, and despite the cool weather and the wind, 400 participants came out and ran or walked in the 5K and 10K. Organizers, including those folks at the rec that actually ran the race, thank everyone who helped make it a success. You're invited to visit the Images of Haltom City photo contest display currently on display at the library through the end of February. An award presentation and photo workshop will be held at 6:30 p.m. Thursday, March 2nd at the library. Anyone interested in photography may attend to learn more about the contest and photography in general. The contest judges will attend and answer questions. The results, if you'll bear with me, I have just the winners of all the different categories in the photo contest. Best of Show, Betty Alford of Haltom City. Spirit of Haltom City, Gary Leazar of Richland Hills. People and Their Activities winner, Ray Eklund of Haltom City. Honorable mention, Sydney Nita of Fort Worth. Animals, winner Kathy Zaragoza of Haltom City, and honorable mention Janice Southard of Haltom City. Haltom City Scenes, winner Veronica Vale of Arlington, honorable mention Travis Royal. On the Road, winner Color Austin Green of Euless, honorable mention Color Arlene Cloud of Fort Worth, winner Black and White Rebecca Rainsberger of Euless, and honorable mention Black and White Andy Scott of Euless. We had over 300 entries, and they're all on display at the library. Tax help is currently available at the Senior Center Mondays at noon and at the library Thursdays at noon. Please call for an appointment, and if you need to find the phone numbers, they're on our website. City offices will be closed next Monday, February 20th, in observance of President's Day. And lastly, the Haltom City Animal Control Division, in partnership with Texas Coalition for Animal Protection, will offer low-cost sterilization and vaccinations for cats and dogs. The program will kick off Monday, March 6th. The first day these services will be available at the Nancy P. Watkins Animal Care and Adoption Center on Midway Road. Pet owners must call and make an appointment. The phone number to make an appointment is 866-310-7387. Check the city's website for details or call Animal Control, Haltom City Animal Control, at 759-2124. And that's what I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. Councilmember Lanford?
Well, Mayor, I thought I heard Ms. Burns say that it was windy and cool last Saturday. Did you notice it being windy and cool? I thought it was like a blast from the Arctic or something of that. You know, it was very uncomfortable.
Well, as a matter of fact, Councilmember Lanford and I were there, and it was cold. And in spite of that, we had runners attired like runners run in the summertime. Didn't seem to bother them any, but you know, the real scary thing in all of this, with the cold weather and everything, Councilmember Lanford standing there in a crowd of 1,000 people, something like that, with a gun in his hand, waving it in the air to start the race. So the Stampede was, again this year, a great event, and we appreciate the participation of everybody who was involved. And yes, it was cold. A couple of years ago, we had snow and ice, but this was a good event. Mr. Muir, I believe you have an announcement to make.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And that event is good. And if you guys were cold, then I suggest you run faster in the event. And the pictures that Ms. Burns talked about, I don't know if y'all have seen them, but those, I'm amazed every year looking at these things. They're really a lot of fun to look at. So you do need to get by that library and see them. There's a lot of talent out there. And I'm talking about not even, it's very hard to pick the winners there because there are some very good photos there. I'm always amazed. I do have an announcement I'd like to make. It was already been made. I think you all have met him, our assistant city manager. We have one on board now, Mr. Chuck Barnett. Came, and he's going to make his way to the podium and say a few words. He doesn't know he's going to do this, so wing it. Chuck, we had 85 applicants, and Chuck comes to us from Bedford. He's been at Bedford for a few years, but we've already seen the benefit of having him here. I'm excited about him being here. I think the staff is excited. I think he's excited to be here. So. Show them how excited you are, Chuck.
I was up until about 15 seconds ago, but thank you. And I do appreciate the opportunity to say hello and thank you for welcoming me to your community. Tom has been very gracious, as the staff has been, to welcome me into the community, and each one of you have had a chance to meet, and I'm very excited about being here. The aspects of what I've seen in the enthusiasm of this council, and you're working together to make your resources, make Haltom City a better place for all the citizens, was the primary reason why I came here. That and the fact that I had more hair than Tom. Other than that, again, to the citizens of Haltom City, thank you very much for this opportunity, and to each of you, thank you also.
Mr. Muir, anything further in the way of announcements? Councilmember Sutton, I saw your light on a moment ago.
Right, it pertained to the previous comment about the pictures in the library. I think that some of them are up on the website, are they not?
They may very well be. I was in the library last week, and
Yeah, you can get kind of a-
you get lost by looking at those things. I mean, they're just captivating. But if they're on the website, it's great. I mean,
I
we can't
believe
put
I
all
saw them
300
up there
on
and got a
but
savor of some of them,
Yeah.
and boy, it sure is attractive to want to get
they're
in the
amazing.
library and see them.
Yeah, really are.
Okay, I believe there are no further announcements to be made tonight. I do want to do something normally I would have done at the beginning of the meeting, and that is to recognize our Assistant City Secretary is very ably filling in tonight. Brenda Staub, who is usually here before us, doing a little recuperating for a few days, and so we're in good hands with Donna Pliska. Donna, welcome. Okay, let's go ahead then and move to item number 1, and that is the approval of the minutes from the January 23rd, 2006 council meeting. Ready for a motion regarding that? Councilmember Reese, followed by Councilmember Bransom.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the minutes as written in the agenda.
Councilmember Bransom,
I'll second that motion.
have a motion and a second to approve. There being no discussion on the motion, if you will register your vote, I will display it, and it carries by unanimous vote of the council. Item number 2 and item number 3 are public hearings. We'll go ahead and address item number 2 first, and Mr. Muir, you want to introduce this, or Mr. Welch?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Item number 2 on your agenda tonight is a request for a public hearing and for consideration of an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2006 budget. The biggest, it's in the amount of slightly more than $1.2 million. The biggest item that encompasses about 75% of this request, and it involves a piece of housekeeping that is reflective of the limitation of our current financial system, and that is that we have to come back to you and ask you to reauthorize some financing for a couple of projects that you approved last year and you appropriated funds for, but September 30th of last year the funding lapsed, and so we just have to come back and ask you to reinstate it for those projects, and they're listed in your council memorandum. Another item in here is an amendment that's going to be to the General Fund, Economic Development Corporation, CCPD, and the Street Reconstruction Fund, and that is referring to the MBIA sales tax audit, which has yielded some rather positive results to the city as a whole. Then also we're asking for you to amend the budget for some FEMA grants that we've received that were related to last year's hurricane. And then the last thing, the smaller dollar amounts in here are reflective of requests that we've made for the uses of special funds. The Court Technology Fund for some construction that is being, the Court Security Fund for some construction that's being done to enhance the safety of the court clerks in the office area, and then asking you for permission to use the proceeds of some of the donation funds. Some of those requests are for items that have already been approved by the council, and some others are for purchases that will be made in the near future.
Hey, members of the council, any questions for Mr. Wells? Councilmember Reese?
I didn't think of this in pre-council, and it hit me on the grant award of the 32 on the general fund for the fire department. You know, it comes from, I'm thinking FEMA with the hurricane relief.
Yes, ma'am.
What exactly does that pertain to? Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't some of our firemen
Yes.
go there to help? I mean, is
We
that
we sent 2 firemen to Anahuac. That's a city in southeast Texas.
That's where the first battle of the Civil War in Texas was fought.
Okay, the history lesson there.
Your history lesson for tonight.
Yep. I just want anybody to be able to spell it. But Anahuac, we sent 2 people. That's right. But we did send 2 there, and Anahuac paid us for that reimbursements, for that expense.
So this is different from that. This 32 is different from the fire.
I think she's
Amendment.
wanting to know if they were reimbursed in addition to this 32,000. Is that it?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Whether it's in addition or a part of, I don't know, but they're separate. We have been reimbursed for sending the 2 firefighters down there.
Okay.
Whether it's part of that 32 or not, I don't know. Maybe Joel knows the answer to
The
that.
32,000 was in two pieces, a $24,000 piece and an $8,000 piece.
The 8,000 is from
And
Anahuac.
and the Anahuac part was in it, yeah.
So this was like what went on at the different churches, the payback of our services, the guard, the policemen.
The 24,000.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, any further questions? Mr. Muir, would you like to make comments, a few comments regarding the court security and what these funds will obtain for the city and what that means? I think the citizens would be pleased to hear that comment.
Sure. You want me to take a stab at it, or you want to do it?
You want to pass it to me?
I'm going to pass it to you, my friend.
We've been making some changes in the security in the municipal court area. Previously, there have been counters that were open, and for lack of a better way to describe it, in all seriousness, someone who was disturbed, either mentally disturbed or angered by recent events could just simply jump the counter and actually potentially harm the ladies in the municipal court. And what we have done in the meantime is we combined a change in the configuration of the court because of the new collections position with the change in security, and we have installed some glass partitioning across the main counter in the municipal court that will basically provide an honest man's protection. If someone really wants to get in, there are ways, but we've taken some measures to delay that, to prevent it. We've also we're relocating a doorway to create a situation where we have a little bit more security within the court area. Before we had a door that is similar to that. We're replacing it with an actual solid core door. We're going to be using key punch, the door handles where you'll punch in the 3-digit or perhaps 5-digit code to gain access to the area, so that the court area, both in its main front entrance and the back entrance, which is used by the staff for going in and out, will be more secure. It's not part of this budget amendment, but we're also making some modifications to the utility billing office as well, putting glass up there as well. It will not affect the customer's ability to see the city staff, and it won't affect the city staff's ability to deal with the customer. But when it's all said and done, there's going to be an enhanced safety for the staff, and it's not going to be seen by the customer as being as being obtrusive or anything like that.
Can you, I know as you explained, this was mainly done to provide better security for staff as they're counting cash and doing whatnot, just a few feet from the people that are coming to the counter.
Well, we're also moving them a little bit away from that area.
Right. Can you also explain to the citizens how that court security fund is funded?
The Court Security Fund is one of a few funds that has been created by the state legislature. A portion of the administrative fee that is charged on every ticket, on every conviction, I should say, on every conviction, there are a series of fees, which I might mention. It's rather appalling when you consider the fact that $77 of a fine that you pay is fees that go to the state. Well, part of these fees that go to the state does come back to the city in the form of a court technology fund that allows us to enhance the technological ability of the municipal court, and in this particular case, the court security fund, which allows us to make the municipal court offices and the chambers safer. So that is done with fees from the convictions.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments regarding this item from members of the council? Thank you, Mr. Welch. Since this is a public hearing, I'll open the public hearing at this time to give members of the audience an opportunity to ask questions or make comments regarding this housekeeping item under agenda item number 2, which is simply amending the current budget on first reading as Mr. Welch explained. Do we have anyone who would like to address the council regarding this? Okay, there being none, I'll close the public hearing at this time, and members of the council, I'm ready for a motion regarding the wishes of the council on first reading of this ordinance. Councilmember Hutchison and then Councilmember Lanford.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance number 02006-00203 on revising the fiscal year 2006 budget.
Okay, we have a motion. Councilmember Lanford.
That's for a second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, there being none, if you'll display your vote or register your vote, I will display it, and it is a unanimous vote of the council in favor of that motion. Item number 3 is a final plat, and here to introduce that, our planning director, James Pliska.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, citizens of Haltom City. Tonight is a public hearing for the final plat. It is a replat, therefore the need for the public hearing. This is to consider and action regarding the application of Mr. Oscar Calderon for the final plat of Lot 4R, Block 19 of the Meadow Oaks Edition, being a replat of Lots 4 and 5, Block 19 of the Meadow Oaks Edition in the C1 Commercial District. And this site is located on the east side of Denton Highway, which is US 77, containing approximately 1.964 acres of land and is locally known as 3408 Denton Highway. This plat was recommended for approval to the City Council by the Planning and Zoning Commission on their October 11th, 2005 meeting. I'm formally submitting the 11x17 reduced copy of said plat for your approval tonight. I'm also including the site plan. The site is a future restaurant for Mr. Calderon. He has an existing facility to the south of this. And also the floor plan for you to review tonight. Since it is a public hearing, they will also, his company that he's hired for this will address some issues as well.
Okay, members of the council, before I open the public hearing on this for members of the audience to participate, do we have any questions or comments for Mr. Pliska on this item? Mayor Pro Tem Sutton.
Right. I may have heard it wrong, but I thought you said US 77. I believe it's US 377 Denton Highway,
I'm
right?
sorry, 377.
Is that? I
Thank
may
you.
have heard it wrong. Okay.
All right.
Great.
All right.
Okay, anything further by members of the council? Thank you, Mr. Pliska.
Thank you, Mayor.
I open the public hearing at this time for members of the audience to have an opportunity to ask questions or make comments regarding Mr. Calderon's application for final plat. So we open that at this time, and Mr. Calderon, we always give the applicant an opportunity to address the council first if you would like. You don't have to. You can just be available to answer questions either from the council or the citizens if you choose to do that. If you would, yes, come on up to the podium and give us your name and address for the record, please.
Mayor, members of the council, my name is Oscar Calderon, and although I spend a lot of hours in the restaurant, I don't live in the restaurant. I live in 5901 Diamond Oaks. Okay, so I'm here to answer any questions if you have any for the future restaurant. It's a beautiful facility. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to bring a lot of new people to our city. I have chosen this city to be with you, and I really appreciate the city, what you guys have done for us. So thank you. And if you have any questions, please.
Councilmember Hutchison.
Mr. Calderon, if you would enlighten the public, I mean, this is a final plat, and the last time we addressed this issue was way back in October. So could you enlighten the public on why it's taken so long to get to this point?
Well, there has been several issues that we've been trying to address. One of them, it was a water line that wasn't available for us at the time. I believe we needed like about 8-inch water line. for a suppression system. That is required. Our building is going to be almost 8,000 square feet, and if you probably back last year, you adopted a new code that it was required for a building that is over 6,000 square feet to have a suppression system. So that's one of the reasons why it's taking a little longer.
Okay, further questions, comments? Councilmember Lanford.
Thank you. Oscar, I was just reading, the building area, it says is 8,488 square feet, and the proposed building area under here is 6,674 square feet. There's, is there another building, or is there some other?
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to defer the question to our builder. So
I'm just trying to. I mean, it's your restaurant. You can have it inside you want to.
Sir, if you will, give us your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Keith Alexander. I'm president of KB Alexander and Company. We're general contractors. We're located here in Haltom City. My address is in 612 Stonehenge in Hurst, Texas. To answer your question, the total square footage contains the patio area and some service areas, not just the exact the restaurant area.
Right.
So that's,
Okay.
that's the
That
difference in the numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
He has an outdoor type seating area.
Cool.
Okay, any further questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Members of the audience, any questions or comments you'd like to make? Since this is a public hearing, you have an opportunity to do that at this time. Okay, there being none, I'll close the public hearing, and Councilmember Sutton, followed by Councilmember Clark.
I'd like to move to approve final plat number P-026-05.
Councilmember Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's for a second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, there being none, if you will register your vote at this time. And this motion passes by unanimous vote of the council. So, Mr. Calderon, that final plat has been approved. You getting ready to turn dirt up there pretty quick? Start turning dirt?
Yeah, I was just going to ask when it's going to be open.
We're looking forward to that. Be a great addition to our city. Okay, we move now to the Visitor Citizens Forum, and this time is set aside for any person having business before the council that is not scheduled on the agenda to have an opportunity to speak to the council. We have 2 speakers' request cards that have been filled out tonight, and I want to remind everyone regarding the time. Each of these 2 speakers will be given a 6-minute time limit. Each of the speakers must make all comments directed toward the presiding officer rather than to an individual council member or staff. Each speaker must limit his or her comments to the subject matter listed on the speaker's request card and must refrain from personal attacks toward any individual. And since these subjects on the speaker's request form were not posted 72 hours in advance, the council cannot discuss matters that are brought forth, cannot debate any issue brought forth at this time, nor can the council take any final action on any of this. While we have 2 speakers' request forms, we do have a policy of allowing members of the audience who have not filled out one of these speakers' request forms to address the audience, with the same rules applying with the exception of a 3-minute time limit rather than a 6. So our first speaker tonight, Mr. Gene Snow, who wishes to speak to us on oil and gas mineral leasing. Mr. Snow.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Gene Snow, 5719 Airport Freeway. As you folks know, I've been interested in leasing the city's EDC minerals for a year or 2. And Mr. Muir advised me that now the properties are going to be nominated maybe and put up for bid. So about 3 weeks ago, I sent a letter in requesting that 2 of the properties be put up for bid. The main reason is I already own part of the minerals under one of them. I have them leased, and I have minerals leased around the other property. And I haven't really heard anything about it. I'm not mad at Tom or anything. I know his boat is really loaded. Now he's got him an assistant that may be able to help. But it's time to get this show on the road. We are passing up. We calculated it today with today's gas prices at around $6. For every acre of minerals that you own, it's $500 to $600 a month. Now, the way we kind of calculated for the two city tracks that I requested, I believe it's $500,000 a year in income that we're passing. And this whole reason I'm here is I would like to get on, if it's possible, the agenda of the council so I can get a heads-up conversation with you folks to try to lease these properties or find out what's going on. As I've been coming here for a long, long time, and I'm still vague. The playing field changes a lot. I know the EDC has some land that I'm interested in that I'm leased around. I would just like to have somebody, if it's possible and if it's the right plan, or tell me what is, to put me on the agenda so that we can discuss the different aspects of this deal. I'd like to show you why I think you need to lease it, the money that we're bypassing. Like I said, there's about $500,000 a year in the two properties that we talked about in the royalty end of it. I don't know, anything else to say other than the fact that I'd like some kind of movement, like somebody to tell me something. And if I can't get on the agenda, I'd like to hear that. I'd like to have a path to go down to get to the end result of being able to bid on the properties, because we plan on drilling a well in the first half of this year. My partner's 4 7s, and everything's done except for the plat. And there's a couple of missing pieces. 2 of them are the cities. It needs to be brought to a head. I don't know who needs to do it, or if it needs to be a group of you or what. Maybe the city manager needs some help and a little spur, and that everybody's on his side. But please, let's get this thing over with. We're missing a lot of money for the city, for the citizens of this city, and I really would like to see that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. Comments from you, or shall I?
I don't mind commenting. I did get 2 letters from Mr. Snow. I'm not sure they were 3 weeks ago, but I do have 2 letters. I'm waiting on some clarification from another person that is also interested in bidding some stuff, and then I'll send that packet out. That's part of the delay. But we are going to be leasing. We'll be bidding out this stuff. This body cannot do anything with leasing the minerals until they're bid out. Bottom line, it's got to be bid out.
Bottom line needs to tell me when they're going to be bid out.
Before we cross the line of what we're...
You'll have to talk with me, Mr. Snow, and I know you came by today, and I'm sorry I wasn't there to talk with you, but I will call you later this week, and we'll talk more specifically.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. Our next speaker tonight, David Harper. Mr. Harper wishes to address the council on the status of leasing city-owned minerals.
5600 North Beach, and I'm not going to echo what he just said, but as you know, I work on a contingency basis with him. I'm also a royalty owner in Haltom City, and a resident like all the people in here, and the people watching on TV, and it has been frustrating. We passed an ordinance more than a year ago, and yet here we are still waiting, and it's just, you're not going to lose any sleep because I'm frustrated, but we just don't want to screw this up, and we need to get going on it. And I think we've all been pretty patient. I just don't, for me, it's baffling that Flower Mound, Hazlitt, everybody around here is on board, but we're not. We just always seem to be the last one. And on this issue, I just wish we could get going, and I heard what you said, and I hope that
we're not keeping anybody else from doing it. I mean, I'm just talking about bidding out city property. If somebody else has got property they don't want to drill on or want to do stuff with, they can do that.
And that's just it. And we probably will. And then that's going to, as we've talked about before, you potentially could screw up your surface use later on if you don't. It's better, in my opinion, it's just better to be working together than adversarial.
Sure. Oh, definitely.
And we all will
definitely
hit the same goals if we could just get some dialogue going. It's just been really frustrating.
Okay, but again, you guys have not talked, I mean, you have not called me or talked to me, outside of coming today, and Mr. Snow and I have talked, but I mean, since I got those letters, I have not heard anything. And the ball's in my court. I realize
Ladies
that.
and gentlemen, I'm getting a little nervous about this exchange back and forth. I don't want us to cross the line and get in trouble. So, Mr. Harper, if you will, go ahead and make your presentation.
Okay. And I can't say anything he didn't say. It's just, it has been frustrating. I don't want to see us, as a city, everybody knows I've worked really hard trying to improve this place, and this is a windfall, and we just need to jump on it.
Agreed.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Harper. Do we have anyone else in the audience who has not filled out one of the yellow speaker's request forms to anyone else wish to address the council at this time? Okay, there being none, we'll go ahead and move on then to item number 4, which is the boards and commissions. Do we have any resignations of board members? Councilmember Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I do have a resignation from Rick Miller on the Fire Services Board that was submitted this past week.
Okay, Councilmember Sutton has presented a resignation. He's asking for us to ratify. If you support ratification of the resignation of Mr. Miller from the which board?
Fire Services
Fire
Board.
Services Board. If you'll indicate that by the display of your vote, please. And that does pass by unanimous vote. Do we have any other resignations of board members to be addressed at this time? Okay, there being none, do we have any appointments to any of our boards or commissions? Councilmember Bransom and then Councilmember, okay, we'll just do it one at a time. Councilmember Bransom.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to recommend Melinda Smith for the CCPD. She lives on Palmer.
Okay, CCPD, an acronym for crime?
I'm sorry, and I'm the one that's so anti-acronym, yes.
Okay.
Crime Control Prevention Board.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation by Councilmember Bransom for this appointment. If you support that, she needs a ratification vote, please, at this time. And that appointment is ratified.
And I know it's a district, not a board, by the way. I said board, but it should have been district.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Hutchison, I think we'll just go down the line. I forgot now what order these lights came on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a recommendation that we accept, ratify Mr. Ryan Murphy from 4200 Northern Cross Boulevard from Calvary Chapel on the Crime Control Prevention District.
Okay. You have heard the recommendation by Councilmember Hutchison. Your vote regarding ratification, please. And that is ratified by unanimous vote of the council. Councilmember Lanford.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Cody Elliott for the, what was it, Crime Control and Prevention District.
Okay. Members of the council, your pleasure regarding ratification of this appointment, please. And that is a unanimous vote for ratification. And Councilmember Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to nominate Rick Miller for EDC, citizen member.
Okay, we have Councilmember Sutton's recommendation. If you will, register your desire regarding ratification. And that, too, is a unanimous vote. Do we have any others who wish to make appointments or reappointments to boards or commissions? Okay, there being none, all of the items on the regular council agenda have been addressed. The time is 7:40. The council will move at this time into executive session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.071, .072, and .074. Any action to be taken by the council on any item discussed in executive session will be made when we return to this location at the end of the meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, the council has moved back into open session. No action to be taken by the council on any item discussed in executive session. Therefore, this council meeting stands adjourned.